I shout to my brothers at Total Football Talk, including the EP of all EPs, Mr. Cole Johnson, and Kyle Nash, who is sitting in for Drew Willingham for the very, very special shout to my comments that I put in their stream. I know y'all see the wrong date on your screen. I'm going to get better at doing this. That's why I slated my full return for May 3rd. All right. So you're going to see me on and off here while I get everything together, while I continue to heal. And May 3rd is it. I return to the chair full time. In the meantime, let's go. Oh, wait. I'm handing out some grades today. And a few of my fans in the NFC West are not going to like how I've skewed them. Now, let's go. On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up? Wake up.
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Brownsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh, yeah! Time to get this party started once and for all. And y'all can't see me yet. Now you can see me. Good morning. Welcome to the Taco Tuesday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. And as you know, we are stacked and packed with some great sports talk as we take you on a 120-minute journey with the best sports talk show in the region, across the nation, and around the world. We welcome those of you watching via YouTube on both Snowman Multimedia YouTube channels, the second of which we are trying to build to at least 1,000 subscribers before the main launch on May 3rd, and the Shady Sports Network YouTube channel. We also welcome those of you listening on WYRU-DB in Chicago, WEIS-DB in Chicago, WQEE in Atlanta, KSOS in Salem, Oregon, WLEO in Baltimore, and straight up in Indianapolis, Indiana, WJKS-DB. Thank you all very, very much, as well as those of you listening in the region, across the nation, and around the world on our flagship radio station, Snowman Multimedia Sports Radio. All right, we got all that out of the way, and I want y'all to do me a favor. You'll see this at the bottom of your screen. Please, if you can, and if you can find it in your heart, need some help in supporting my family. So if y'all could, the immediate contribution would be via Cash App. The sign you need, the tag you need is $ Tallman Dr. K50. And if you can support via PayPal, paypal.me/snowman2172, both would be very much appreciated. And I'll talk a little more about this. Let's start getting the hashtag Snowman Stadium Tour rolling as well. All right. I got a couple of these, and one of them I ain't going to like. Here's the whip around presented by Fanatics. Dear God, I can't believe I'm going to lead with this, but I'm going to do it anyway. LeBron James is entering the podcast world, and he will be joined in the new venture by retired NBA player and ESPN analyst J.J. Redick. The show will be called Mind of the Game, and its premise is to dive deep into basketball. What the show won't have at first is corporate sponsorship. LBJ said, quote, "I'm really proud of what we've done to innovate in sports media. When I do a project, the only thing I think about is whether me and my friends would watch it. That is definitely the case with Mind the Game. Mind the Game. I said it wrong. I apologize. Everything doesn't need to be designed for internet culture and clicks." Close quote. I'll stop there and I'll save that for tomorrow. To the NFL we go, and a couple of clerical errors have dinged the San Francisco 49ers as they will be moved back 4 spots in the 4th round from numbers 131 to 135. They still will have 10 picks in the draft, and the error occurred at the end of the 2022 NFL season. So they got dinged. They don't lose any draft picks. They keep the 10 that they have, and they still get a chance to beef up their team after the free key agent losses, and I'll talk about that later on today. Anybody remember the name Blake Snell? Well, the lefty has agreed to a short-term deal, if you can believe it, with the San Francisco Giants, giving the Giants the second ace that they need. Snell has agreed to a 2-year, $62 million deal with the Giants. A person with direct knowledge of the agreement told USA Today Sports. The person spoke on the The person spoke on the condition of anonymity because the deal is not yet finalized. It includes an opt-out option after the first season. Suddenly, a Giants offseason that started with a slumber has ended with a flourish. Snell joins a staff that includes Logan Webb, runner-up to Snell in the Cy Young balloting. Earlier this month, they added third baseman Matt Chapman on a similar short-term deal with multiple opt-outs. The recent agreements with the two Scott Boras clients caps a winter that included a $113 million commitment to South Korean center fielder Young-ho Lee, a 3-year, $42 million deal for designated hitter Jorge Soler, and a trade for former American League Cy Young Award winner Robbie Ray, who won't be available until close to mid-season. Dana Reagan and I are going to work on calling some Giants games, alternative play-by-play style throughout the course of the season. Phew! Now that I got through all that, that's the whip around presented by Fanatics. Our executive producer is Cole Johnson. Our associate producer, the one and only Shane Lake, the big dog himself. I got some coffee in front of me. I got 1, 2, 3 bottles of water off to my right. And we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I'll hand out some grades, NFC West style. And later on today, I'll be joined by the one and only Rude Dog Rudy Reyes. That's going to be a lot of fun as we'll talk Steelers and more free agency stuff. This, my friends, is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. A shout to you, my brother. I love you very much. Back in a flash.
Everything Boston. I love you, you morons. You kissing the block. New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck. Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to, I can be the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Portions of today's show is brought to you by BetUS.com. March Madness is upon us. Also, the NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball are in action as well. And if you want the best action, BetUS.com is the way to go. The sportsbook is celebrating their 30th year with the best action at the best time. Log on to BetUS.com and use the code Snowman for a 125% deposit match. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Let's go to the Fanatics Feedback Zone. And I mentioned Victor, and here he is. Hey, yo, Snowman. What's going on, bad guy? Good to see you in the chat. I thought his co-host would be Kendrick Perkins. You know, I thought that too. Like I said, I'll save that for tomorrow because I'm going to tear it to shreds. Who in the 49er office messed up? Well, a couple of clerical errors, but it did not cost them as much as I thought it would. It didn't cost them any money. They still have a lot of room under the cap. And clerical errors happens to everybody. And the only penalty that they incurred was moving 4 spots back in the draft. They were picking in the 4th round at pick number 131. They will pick at number 135 instead. The NFL draft covered live here on Snowman Multimedia. We're going to do the whole thing. Draft weekend. Okay, speaking of the NFC West, and speaking of the defending NFC champion San Francisco 49ers, let's see how they did on, oops, y'all weren't supposed to see that. Let's see how they did on the grading scale. And the reason I'm starting with them, well, 1, they are the defending NFC West champions. And 2, they're going to be loaded for next year, even though they've lost some very, very big key pieces. And let's go over what they have added to their lineup. They added defensive end Leonard Floyd, defensive end Yatir Gross-Matos, defensive tackle Jordan Elliott, and defensive tackle Malik Collins. They've also re-signed offensive tackle Colton McKivitz, quarterback Brandon Allen, and safety George Odom. They've lost quarterback Sam Darnold, cornerback Isaiah Oliver, defensive end Cleveland Farrell, and they also, courtesy of yesterday, they lost Chase Young to the New Orleans Saints, a 1-year, fully guaranteed $1 million deal. Now, we still have the draft to go. We got a long way to go before next football season, but in terms of free agency, giving them a B. They could have done more, but at the same time, they have to stay within cap space because there are some picks in the draft that they can get to help get some depth along the offensive line and some depth at wide receiver, because believe me, I believe they're going to be working on a big contract for one Brandon Ayuk. They've already tendered Juwan Jennings, but you got to have some depth. Oh, excuse me. I feel a sneeze coming, and I don't know when it's going to come, so I will say excuse me in advance. They got to get some depth. That has been the bugaboo of the 49ers since 2019. Now, in 2 trips to the Super Bowl, they've had the depth to get them through. Yes, but they really need it, especially with the loss of one of the biggest pieces of their defense. Of course, I'm talking about Dre Greenlaw, who tore his ACL in the Super Bowl. And the other piece that they lost was a spare part whom they drafted at number 1 when they let DeForest Buckner go. And that's Javon Kinlaw. Signed a 1-year deal with the New York Jets, and the 49ers wouldn't pick up his option. He was good and he was serviceable. I'm just afraid that and Ryan McCarthy is going to kill me for this, but I'm just afraid that he's going to get ruined by the Jets and the Jets culture. I really hope to be wrong with that statement. The Niners also lost defensive tackle Eric Armstead, and Armstead is with Jacksonville. Right now. Floyd is in elite company as one of only 3 players with at least 9 sacks in each of the last 3 seasons, along with 2023 Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett and Pro Bowler Hassan Reddick. There's a name on the market that the Niners could go after. That's Hassan Reddick. Gross Matos, a former 2nd-round pick of the Carolina Panthers, didn't play up to his pedigree in Charlotte, but perhaps San Francisco can help unlock them like they did Charles Omenihu a couple of years ago. Collins also adds depth on the defensive line, and Kendrick should strengthen what is already a solid 49er defense. Of course, they hired a new defensive coordinator, and that, of course, is Nate Sorensen. I had a talk with Jamie Winborn. I'll replay that interview sometime later. And he talked about how good Sorensen was defensively. And I've had a lot of people ask me, why do you think they let Steve Wilks go? I was wondering the same thing. Then I listened to an interview with the voice of the 49ers and Greg Papa. And he mentioned one word, which told me everything I needed to know. Because if you watch the 49ers this past year, they took a step back on defense, coming down from the number 1 ranking that they've had the last 2 years under DeMeco Ryans. And they fell to, I believe, 9th or 10th. And the one word that was mentioned was disconnect. There was a lot of disconnect in that locker room. And I can't tell you when exactly the 49ers defense was lost by Steve Wilks. And a lot of people, the social justice warriors are going to think, oh, well, he got cut because he was black. Wrong answer. There was a disconnect in that locker room, and you can see it in their performance on the field. Because if there wasn't a disconnect, they'd have rolled through Kansas City. They'd have rolled through Kansas City on their defense alone. Their defense kept them in the game, but they couldn't finish the job. Okay? Part of the blame, as I said before, is on the offense. Part is on defense. But there's so much more I can get into with that. I'll do that at a later date. So far in free agency, I'm giving the 49ers a B. Now, that could change in the next couple of weeks leading up to the draft. It could go lower. It could go higher. But that's the grade I am giving them right now. We'll do the grades again right before the draft. Let's go to the Fanatics Feedback Zone very, very quickly. Ryan McCarthy is with us. He says homergrade.exe initiating and homergrade.exe failed. What? Are you kidding me? Chase Young, that's a rather big hit for San Francisco. Yes and no, Victor, because we knew he'd be a half of a year rental. I was looking forward to them re-signing Chase Young, but then I didn't see that they were going to let Eric Armstead go. I didn't see that Javon Kinlaw was going to walk. But it's just there's so many spots on that roster. There are only so many spots on that roster that they can fill. Okay, and I expect them to be fully loaded for next year. Ladies and gentlemen, the international Irish Italiano supervillain Espresso McCoffee has arrived. Yes, he has. Power through it. I'm trying to do that, Mr. McCoffee. The Jets' culture on defense is solid. They know what they need to do to get the job done. Offense, on the other hand, thank you for that correction. I appreciate it. Got in here in time for the 49ers free agent grade. Next week I'm doing the AFC. We're just getting started and handing out some grades to the NFC West, and let's keep going here. Let's continue with the Arizona Cardinals as we're inside of the NFC West, and I feel that sneeze coming on again. I don't know about the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, do they really know what they're doing? Seriously, do they really know? Do they really know what they're doing? Here's a sneeze. Excuse me, man, alive, that hurt. You ever have a sneeze that just snuck up on you? Well, that one just snuck up on me. Let's go to the Cardinals. Cardinals finished at the bottom of the division, and I'm giving them a D. You know, others are graded them a C. Let's take a look at who they added. They added defensive lineman Justin Jones, linebacker Matt Wilson, cornerback Sean Murphy Bunting, offensive tackle Jonah Williams, and quarterback Desmond Ridder. There's your wild card right there, Desmond Ridder. I got another sneeze coming. Excuse me a minute. And I hate when that happens. I hate when the sneezes are playing tricks on me. They re-signed guard Tristan Colon and offensive lineman Keith Ishmael. Their key departures are left tackle DJ Humphreys and wide receiver Rondale Moore, who is now in Atlanta. They entered the first days, the Cardinals did, of the NFL's legal tampering period, flush with money to spend, up $56.6 million in cap room, the fifth most in the NFL, but they didn't make any major moves. They re-upped left guard Tristan Colon, whose Pro Football Focus pass blocking grade ranked as the 18th best among guards. Here we go with the analytics again, and I abhor analytics. Did he get the job done or not? That's as simple as it gets. They added Justin Jones, the 28-year-old, on August 28th, who paced the Chicago Bears in quarterback hits. Did he get any sacks? I hate these analytics, man. Did he get any sacks or not? Did he do the job? Did he get to the quarterback? Did he help his teammates get to the quarterback? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. Some of these signings are based on analytics, and some of these signs are based on the eye test. All right? I think you can make all your signings via the eye test and not depend on analytics all the time, because if you depend on analytics, you ain't watching the game. I don't trust what the Cardinals are doing. Simply put, I don't trust what the Cardinals are doing, and they're a mess anyway. They signed quarterback Desmond Ridder. Now, I have a question. It goes like this. How long before Desmond Ridder takes over the reins as the starting quarterback of the Cardinals? Because I don't think it'll be long. I'm sorry, folks. Trying to adjust my heater down here. I don't think Kyler Murray is long for this team. Let that sink in. I don't think Kyler Murray, as talented as he is, and I pause when I say talented, I don't think Kyler Murray is long for this team. I just don't. I just don't think that he has what it takes to be a true leader of this ball club. We've seen it. Dear God in heaven, we've seen it. We've seen it, man. We've seen flashes of brilliance. And that's all we've seen. Flashes. We're not going to see anything else out of Murray. Somewhere the Oakland A's are kicking themselves, but somewhere the Oakland A's are celebrating. And the Oakland A's are celebrating because they don't have to have a part-time player. Thank you, Cole Johnson, for that. And I won't sing it because I can't hold a tune to save my life. But I don't think Kyler Murray is much longer for the Cardinals. I just don't. Because now you get rid of your biggest weapon in Rondale Moore, and you're going to depend on James Conner and Kyler Murray to get you through in their running game. There's no depth on this team. None. So again, I pose the question, how long before Desmond Ridder takes over starting quarterback duties for the Arizona Cardinals? I don't think it'll be long at all. I don't think it'll be long at all before we see Desmond Ridder. Yes, that Desmond Ridder, who was rejected by the Atlanta Falcons, who was thrown away by the Atlanta Falcons. Let me light up the chat too. If you think Desmond Ridder is going to be the starting quarterback sooner than later for the Arizona Cardinals, let me know when. Let me know which week y'all think Ridder will take over on offense for the Arizona Cardinals. Because while they've made these signings, signing offensive tackle Jonah Williams, re-signing guard Tristan Colon and Keith Ishmael, I mean, Jonah Williams had an up and down career in Cincinnati. And now he's in Arizona? If an AFC champion, and Cincinnati won an AFC championship, and you couldn't stick there, you couldn't make it work there? Man, I don't understand. What led you to Arizona? Why did you pick Arizona? Now, we won't know this and won't know how good this team really is until we start the season. I know that. I realize that. I understand that. But it's just, I just don't see it with these Arizona Cardinals. I don't see it. I don't think they're going to compete ever in the NFC West for a few years now, because they still have trouble along the offensive line to solve. They have troubles along the offensive line to solve. Not to mention their defense was porous. Their defense was absolutely porous last year. How are you going to sew that up? And you didn't make any big splash free agent signings when you had the fifth most room in the NFL in terms of cap space to sign somebody, to sign a couple people that were worth it. Now you get some depth and you shore up your offensive line and you shore up your defense, certainly. But do they really have enough depth to compete in the division that's going to be ruled by the San Francisco 49ers for as long as I can see into the very near and distant future? Really? I don't see it. I just don't see it. I could totally be wrong. And I'll always say that disclaimer aloud. I can totally be wrong. And if I am, I'll sit here and admit that I was wrong. I'll sit here and admit it. I will sit here and admit that I was wrong, should that be the case. But we're not going to find out until, I say, week 6 or 7 when Desmond Ridder takes over. I'm sorry. Did I say that aloud? I'm sorry. But I give them a D. I could very well make this an incomplete, as you can do for most free agency grades, but a lot of people wanted me to put out grades now. I could just easily give every team an incomplete because the free agency period is not done. But when someone challenged me to put out grades, fine, I'll put out grades. That's why I'm doing the NFC West today. Halfway home in hour number 1, and want to tell you that at the top of hour 2, I'll have the Rude Dog himself in Rudy Reyes joining me, and we're gonna pause. We're gonna pause for a break, and when y'all get back, I will hand out NFC West grades to the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. And the playmaker ain't gonna like me for this. I will just put it out there right now. I'm sorry, playmaker, but you ain't gonna like me for this, for the grade that I'm gonna give them. NFC West grades continue in a flash.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. You Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Bobby J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
I got a busy day on Friday, and we got a mega show coming. 8 a.m. Friday morning, and some of the interviews I got lined up are going to be absolutely ridiculous, including Emmy Award-winning producer Deb Whitkus will join me on Friday morning. And then, right after I get off of that, I got this. Snowman Broadcast Center play-by-play presents the NCAA tournament as the Florida Atlantic Owls, a Final Four participant last year, will take on my beloved Northwestern Wildcats. So I'm going to be pretty busy for about, 6 consecutive hours. And then we got a big one on Saturday as the Iowa Hawkeyes will launch their quest for a national championship in women's basketball. That game is set for 3. We'll be on at 2:30. Jump on to youtube.com/@SnowmanMultimedia52 or the brand new Snowman Multimedia YouTube channel. Spell it SNWMN Multimedia to follow all of the action. Now I'm going to be pretty busy. Okay. NFC West free agency grades continue. And let's go to Seattle. Let's go to the Seattle Seahawks, shall we? I'm giving him an A. Yes, a mortal enemy of mine in the NFC West is getting a high grade because of what they did in free agency. They added defensive back Rayshon Jenkins and quarterback Sam Howell and linebacker Jerome Baker. They re-signed Noah Fant and defensive end Leonard Williams, but they lost tight end Will Dissly, tight end Colby Parkinson, guard Damian Lewis, linebacker Jordan Brooks, quarterback Drew Lock, and running back DJ Dallas. But the big thing is they retained two key contributors on both sides of the ball in Noah Fant and Leonard Williams. Now, you know the question that I asked about Kyler Murray and Desmond Ridder and how long before we see Desmond Ridder take over for Kyler Murray? I have the same question with Seattle. Under new head coach Mike McDonald, they have $44.9 million to spend. How long before we see Sam Howell take over at center for Geno Smith? How long before that happens? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. I don't want to say it'll be quick. I don't want to say, hell. I'll go ahead and make a bold prediction right now. And I'm going to get yelled at. I'm going to get barked at. I'm going to get ridiculed. I'm going to get a finger pointed at me. All of this in jest, I know. But I'm going to say Sam Howell starts week 1. I'm going to go ahead and say it because Sam Howell is out of Washington. He's out of that toxic nature and toxic culture. And he's got a few more and better weapons to use. The only problem that I see for the Seahawks, and it's been a problem that's been a bugaboo for them since 2020, and y'all have heard me say this before about a lot of teams, they don't have a running game. They just do not have a running game. And that is going to be their downfall. Because if they had a running game, they'd have rolled through the division last year with some parts of the offense that they had. With some parts of the offense that they had. Okay? But that lack of a running game, I don't know. I'm not sure, but like I said in the last segment, I could easily give every team an incomplete, and that's because I'm judging down the road. Because I don't know what these free agents are going to bring. No one knows. And you're not going to know until you see him in action, until you see him with your team. Period. You're not going to know until you see him with your team. Now to the Los Angeles Rams. I will apologize to Playmaker right now. I will make sure this apology is heard around the world. And I want to be sure that the Playmaker knows that I'm going to apologize well in advance. But you ain't going to like, Playmaker, the off-season grade, the free agency grade, I beg your pardon, that I've given the Rams. Why? Because they're an opponent. And I hate to do this to your beloved Rams, whom you've loved since 99, the greatest show on turf, and I realize that. But in spite of everything that's happened, I got to give them an A. I got to give them an A for what they've done, even given whom they lost. They added Colby Parkinson, Jonah Jackson, and Darius Williams, tight end, guard, and cornerback. They re-signed DeMarcus Robinson, guard Kevin Dotson. Their key departures, Aaron Donald has retired. And I'll say something about Aaron Donald at the close of the show. But considering the Rams took a flyer on Dotson, a 4th-round pick in 2020 in a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers a year ago, flipping a 2024 4th-round pick and a 2025 5th-round pick in exchange for Dotson, they kind of hit the jackpot with him. This Rams team, and I don't like saying this aloud because of the friendly rivalry I have with the playmaker, but this Rams team will frighten the you-know-what out of you. This is a young team, and now you add Colby Parkinson to an already stacked tight end room, which includes Tyler Higbee, and they also added Jimmy Garoppolo because he's signed with the Rams. The only problem with that is you have 2 30-plus-year-old quarterbacks in your room, in your quarterback room. You have 2 30-plus-year-old quarterbacks in your room. Matt Stafford is going to be, I believe, 36, if someone can look that up for me. And Garoppolo is going to be 32. And Garoppolo has been oft injured. Believe me, chronicled it well in his time with the 49ers. Chronicled it well. But you have a team that is simmering on the edge of busting out and scaring a lot of people, my 49ers included. Because the Rams always play us tough anyway. But I hate to do that to Playmaker, but I'm giving his team an A. I'm giving his team an A. Of course, I got to be very playful with him as he is with me. I hope to have the Playmaker back on soon. But got to be very playful with him, as I said, as he is with me. But this Rams team is sitting on the edge. Matt Stafford will turn 36 on February 7th. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McCarthy. I appreciate that. And Ryan, my master researcher, could you find out Garoppolo's age? I said 32. I believe he's 32. But this Rams team is deep. That's the first thing I can say. The only thing they have to replace is Aaron Donald, who played all 10 seasons with the Rams. He won the Super Bowl in 2021 with a 3-sack game. Jimmy G is 32. I thought I had that right. The Rams could sneak. No, they could stomp back into the playoffs. Will they win the West? We don't know. Will they give the 49ers all sorts of hell? Better believe it with this team. Better believe it. This Rams team is strong, and this Rams team is potent. Now, I know it's weird for me to show love to the Rams, but I got to call a spade, and I got to be truthful. And I'm going to tease the daylights out of my good friend, the Playmaker, until he comes back to us here on the show. Y'all know I don't like the Rams, but I have to say it honestly. This Rams team is dangerous. This Rams team is dangerous. And they drafted Stetson Bennett last year, who I believe was injured. Now, my question is their quarterback room. Matt Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, and Stetson Bennett are the 3 main quarterbacks that they have. Now, I've asked this with every other team in this division except San Francisco. How long before we see Stetson Bennett? Because frankly, I'll say it again, Matt Stafford is 36, Jimmy Garoppolo is 32, and both have had to deal with a ton of injuries. A ton. Now, granted, Matt Stafford got most of his in Detroit, And then he got the hell out of Dodge after being traded. But he's 36. Who's he? I mean this jokingly. Who's he trying to be? Tom Brady? Who's he trying to be? How much more beaten up can Matthew Stafford take? Especially when you got to see San Francisco twice a year. Especially when you have to see San Francisco twice a year. Do we see Stetson Bennett at all? There's a question. Do we see the former two-time national champion at all this year? Tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you think that the grade should be for each team in the West Division. And also let me know in the comments which division I should cover tomorrow and the rest of this week. Because I want to get through the NFC by the end of the week, especially when I do the mega show on Friday. And then next week we'll start on the AFC. And what I'll also do leading up to the draft is bring on some experts that will offer their thoughts on their team, which is probably going to wind up being my rotation for this coming season. Of course, y'all know Mike Debate's going to join me. The big dog Shane Lake is going to join me. Ryan McCoffey is going to join me. Victor Locke covers the Cowboys. But anybody want to jump on and cover their team? I got Dan Lovely coming to cover the Detroit Lions. That has just been sealed. Let me know. Let me know. Hell, I may have to have Rudy Reyes on more than once to talk about the Steelers, which he will do at the top of the next hour. But that's our grades in the NFC West. Seahawks and Rams get A's. The 49ers get a B+. And the Cardinals, I gave them a D, but I may give them an F. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I ain't trusting the Cardinals. And y'all shouldn't either. But we're going to have a lot of fun this coming season. Speaking of fun, as I mentioned at the top of this segment, the Friday Mega Show starts at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. I will welcome Chris Bass, of course, to close out the festivities. Deb Whitkus will join me, and we're going to have a full 4 hours on the Friday Mega Show. And right after that, I'll put a shirt and tie on and get you ready for Florida Atlantic and Northwestern in NCAA Division I men's tournament play. That'll be at noon. Tip-off is at 12:15. And, of course, Saturday we'll have coverage of the Iowa Hawkeyes in women's basketball as they make their quest for Cleveland. Take a pause for a break, and when we come back, we'll go inside the Fanatics Feedback Zone, then an extended timeout, and then the Rude Dog, Rudy Reyes, will join us. Back after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
And ever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, No, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Portions of today's program brought to you by Invedair Coffee. They aim to serve only the highest quality organic air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. The best coffee at an affordable price. Log on to invadercoffee.com, place your order, use the code Snowman for 15% off. Invader Coffee, fuel for the fearless. I may have an extra guest come on here in a little bit. I've been trying to get him on so I can tease him about his team, let you know that team in a minute. And I'm in communication with him right now. Let's go into the feedback zone presented by Fanatics, because y'all are the ones that make this go. And I got to put this up because when I was talking about the Rams and they signed Jimmy Garoppolo, porn star Jimmy is 32. Thank you. And Ryan McCarthy also said they also drafted Stetson Bennett. And of course, my brother, Sick Diggy from Norway. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And welcome to you as well. What do y'all think? Was I accurate with the grades? And I know Ryan's going to tease me about the Homer grade, of course, with my 49ers. Was I accurate with the grades? Did I miss anything? I want to hear from you guys. Light up the chat for me while we got a few minutes before the top of the hour when I welcome the Rude Dog Rudy Reyes. Let me go back to the Rams. This Ram team was sneaky good the second half of last year. And they can ride that momentum into this coming season and frighten the daylights out of people. They can frighten the daylights out of people, man. The 49ers are still going to be loaded, even though they've lost a ton of talent, but they got a ton of money to spend. And the defensive line still a doggone it. There we go. Trying to adjust to my heater here. They have a ton of money to spend. They got 10 picks. They could easily score a defensive tackle or a defensive lineman like they scored with Javon Kinlaw 4 years ago, which I correctly predicted, by the way. In fact, I predicted 2 South Carolina players would wind up with the 49ers, Deebo Samuel and Javon Kinlaw. Now, Kinlaw is now to the Jets, which makes Ryan McCarthy do a happy dance. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me do this for Ryan. Let me do this for Ryan. Since he took 2 of our players, since the Jets took 2 of our players, we wanted them back, and the Jets said,
"Bitch, are you for real?"
Yeah, that's about what Robert Saleh said. That's about what Robert Saleh said when we asked for Isaiah Oliver and Javon Kinlaw back. Like, no. Yeah, no. So now they get Javon Kinlaw and Ryan McCarthy was doing this. Of course, the executive EP himself, Cole Johnson, came up with that. Hey, Pizzle's in the house. Hey, yo. Hey, Pizzle. Pizzle, I got a question for you. You want to join me on Friday afternoon? Or can you join me on, I don't know if you have to work or not, but can you join me Friday afternoon for Florida Atlantic and Northwestern? I would love for you to join me for that. All right, we're toward the top of the hour, and we're going to take a break. And when y'all get back, it will be my honor to bring aboard someone who has been a very dear friend, and we're going to talk some Steelers. Rudy Reyes is next. Snowman in the Morning, Hour 2, back in a flash.
Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk and they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Hour 2 is here, and so is the Rude Dog. You'll join me in a moment. All of our guests appear via the Invader Coffee guest line. Invader Coffee, fuel for the fearless. Let's not waste any more time. Here's the Rude Dog himself, Rudy Reyes. He joins me right now. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
I'm good, man. Representing Pittsburgh. Got the Pirates hat on. Of course, big-time Steeler fan. So let's jump right in, man. Give me your overall assessment so far of the Steelers' off-season moves. What grade would you give them and why?
I'm going to probably have to give them an A, and there's a variety of reasons for that. First of all, it was an off-season kind of, well, we acquired Russell Wilson. That's great. Not a splash move, but it was a good move. Considering the last 3 quarterbacks they had were Mason Rudolph, which is a holdover from the Ben Roethlisberger era.
Yep.
Kenny Pickett 2 years ago in the 20th overall position for Pittsburgh. I was in Las Vegas for that pick. And then thirdly, they really haven't had a whole lot of motion and not really a standout quarterback since the aforementioned Ben Roethlisberger. The other 2 gentlemen were okay at best.
Yeah.
There were quarterback ratings for Kenny Pickett that didn't reach 40 QBR. Mason Rudolph had a pretty decent playoff run. That's one of the reasons why the Tennessee Titans wanted him, because of the games that he did play and the video that was recorded. The things that I really liked about this pickup, obviously, just not even 2 days ago, feels like a whirlwind when they acquired Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick. And I think that Chicago did him a great service by sending him to an actual playoff caliber team, because the Bears haven't been relevant since, well, way before, Jay Cutler was a quarterback for the Chicago Bears. And I hate to say it that long ago, but truly it was. And sadly enough, when I look at the teams like the Denver Broncos, who we know that Russell Wilson was not Sean Payton's man and was not his guy. He didn't draft him, and a lot of head coaches want their guy, whoever that might be, and really a part of that process of drafting a quarterback or whatever specialty position they happen to be playing. Now, I give them an A because of what they did, and I don't mean on a last-minute ditch effort. This isn't like at the waning moments of dusk to say, well, we have something or we don't have something. This is probably the biggest splash in free agency for the Steelers as an organization, probably within the last, well, I'd say since they drafted Ben Roethlisberger out of Miami of Ohio. What's interesting about this is that Russell Wilson has already won a championship. Yes. Did he have a great QBR? Did he have great seasons in Denver? Well, no, not really. And we can look at his numbers to reflect that. But more importantly, there was an argument going on between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson to say, well, he was benched because we wanted to provide a spark to the offense. I don't buy it. I don't buy that at all. And then you have the aforementioned situation with Kenny Pickett getting sent over to the Philadelphia Eagles for a draft selection as well in 2025 for the Eagles, and they get 2 of those, which is great, and they get Pickett, which doesn't really speak to a whole lot because there are rumors swirling around, and I'm not a fan of the rumor mill, Brian. I'm just not. It's not my thing. It's not my cup of tea. I've never been kind of posturized that direction, but there is a character issue in regards to Kenny Pickett and what he did not do, what he failed to do. He felt that he was threatened by Russell Wilson's entrance. And to be quite honest with you, if I was a quarterback in that very meek quarterback room, I would be as well. Why? Because Russell's already been there, done that. Did he show up in Denver? Well, his numbers don't reflect him winning 2 fabulous seasons, but imagine this. He had 3 times the QBR, nearly 3 times the QBR that Kenny Pickett had in his 2023 campaign with the Steelers. So what does that tell you? That tells you ultimately that Russell Wilson could be the aforementioned starter. And then they acquired Justin Fields as well, which is probably the best backup starting quarterback combo in the AFC North, maybe even in the NFL.
It's going to be tough to beat that combination with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. As you said about Russell Wilson, been there, done that. Of course, Super Bowl 48, got back the next year. And so much to dissect with this. But let me ask you this first. Did you believe when they drafted Kenny Pickett that he would be sent packing as quick as he did?
Actually, I did not, but I didn't care for the pick either. And it had nothing to do with the fact that he was the boy next door. And I mean that literally, because the training facilities are right next door to one another.
Right.
It just did not strike me as the Steelers character guy being drafted in the 20th position that he was. And it didn't really stand out to me in regards to what his play was like. Of course, there are rumors, not really rumors, but factually speaking, his hands were small. And that has anything to do with the insecurity or the insecurities that he possesses. that kind of basically cried and whined his way out of Pittsburgh. And that's coming from a fan, from a broadcaster, from someone who's done this for nearly 10 years. I don't think Kenny Pickett was the right pick for Pittsburgh. They could have gone so many other directions, and I just don't think Kenny Pickett was it.
Now you have Justin Fields. Now you have Russell Wilson, and it has been said that Wilson will be the starter, and there won't be a quarterback competition for the starting job. Mike Tomlin has two very talented quarterbacks in his stable. What does, and I know you've touched on this already, but I want you to do a deep dive and go into detail. What does Russell Wilson bring to the quarterback position that the Steelers have not had since Ben Roethlisberger?
Elusiveness, pure unadulterated elusiveness, right? So when that pocket breaks down, when you have a pass rush that is headed your direction, you want to dink and dunk. Well, unfortunately, there's no Ben Roethlisberger, so you can't do that. There is a Russell Wilson, which is the same gunslinger type of mechanical throws that he has made throughout his career. He did it for DK Metcalf. He's done that throughout his career. So his elusiveness, I think, is number one that has not been had. Kenny Pickett, pocket passer. Mason Rudolph, pocket passer. The latter years of Ben Roethlisberger, the last 2 or 3 years, pocket passer, because we know Ben has been hurt. You know, he's had every muscle or bone broken that you can possibly imagine from head to toe. So they have been missing the elusiveness that Wilson brings. Now, with that being said, Justin Fields, I believe, will still compete. I don't care what he says. Predominantly, if you want to know if you're going to be the named starter, you have to exhibit that. Training camp, as you know, is clearly the favorite ground to prove or disprove why the team did what they did. Now, this is a no benefit to in the either organization, because that means that Denver is now over the cap, which they still have been because of that deal with Wilson. But this is a team-friendly situation with both of these quarterbacks. And if I was Pittsburgh, I would draft a quarterback in the latter round anyway. Why? Because Russell Wilson was not the same Russell Wilson that won the Super Bowl in Seattle. Justin Fields needs to be quarterback. He needs to be coached up, to be quite honest with you. He needs work in the offseason. If I was him, I'd be on the field right now, or I'd be in the classroom, or a combination of those two, so he can get acclimated to the offense. And he also brings, I mean, this is scary. This is a young Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Now, I believe it's a 2.0 for Justin Fields, and it's now a 3.0 for Russell Wilson. Whether or not either one of these guys are named the starter remains to be seen. But if I was a betting man, not that I am, but if I was, I would pick Justin Fields as the heir apparent starter. But again, we know that training camp are the grounds essentially that will enable either one of these guys to showcase why the Steelers brought them there.
You mentioned something very interesting, and I love that you brought this up, that the Steelers should still draft a quarterback in the late rounds of the draft. If you could target one, who would that be?
Oh, man, it is so tough. I mean, you could take Jaden Daniels out of the equation. You can take J.J. McCarthy out of the equation. You can take even Michael Penix out of the equation as well. Lord knows he probably won't be there in the latter part of the second round. Why? Because we don't know what these guys look like at NFL speed. We know what they look like on an NCAA speed, but we don't know what they look like in an NFL speed. With that being said, I think if for some reason you find that Penix is being passed on, you grab him. You grab him. He's the most accurate, talented, scramble-worthy-esque quarterback to go along. Again, we're talking elusiveness. He has that ability and the propensity to get that ball downfield and accurately thrown, by the way. There relatively is no difference between a size of course, a little bit bulkier, a little bit meatier, right, when you think of a quarterback in the NFL or a cornerback in the NCAA system. Same concept, slightly bigger guys, but it's a different speed. I think Michael Penix is probably one of those guys where if he's not picked in the latter part of the second round, he will slip to day 3. If that does happen, the Steelers could, not that they will, but they could move up to grab him.
Rudy Reyes, the Rude Dog, joining here to talk the quarterback situation and the double deal for Pittsburgh, grabbing Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And there's a few more things that the Steelers could do. One of my homies in broadcasting, he's been doing this over a decade. I love you, brother, so much. Thanks for coming on, and I'd love to have you back.
Sure. Sounds good. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day, and look forward to coming back on.
All right. Thank you much. One of my homies, Rudy Reyes, joining me here on the program, talking all things Steelers. Man, that was fun. That was fun. And he's right. If they could get a quarterback in the latter round, it's just going to depend who's available and who fits that system and who's elusive enough to fit that system. We got a break. When y'all get back, I might hand out some more grades. Back after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
And ever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to I can beat the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
And ever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crown they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to I can beat the black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Sorry it took so long, folks. My stomach was busy acting a fool. So I'm back now. And this portion is brought to you in part by SeatGeek. March Madness is here, and if you have plans for Glendale, Arizona, or Cleveland, Ohio, let old Snowman help you with the power of SeatGeek. With just a few taps on your phone, you can find the best seats for all your entertainment. Download the app, pick the seats you want at the Final Four, and most importantly, use the code Snowman Multimedia for $20 off your first purchase. That's only with the power of SeatGeek, where fans can fan. 18 after the hour, and I'm going to do something off schedule. And I am going somewhat to hate myself in the morning for doing this, because I said that I would hold this until tomorrow. Well, I can't do it. Now, I'm already going to be loaded for tomorrow. I already know that. But considering the story I had earlier today, I have to attack it. I'm not going to be able to hold this till tomorrow. Because, yes, LeBron, it is you. It has always been you. It always will be you. Forever and ever. Amen. Let's do it.
In a world where partial greatness is celebrated and total greatness is shunned, there stands to be a figure on the lips of those who love him and those who hate him. The inane comparisons to Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant continue and has existed since 2003. There is no end in sight, for the battle between those who unconditionally love and unconditionally hate him wages on. These are their stories. Welcome to the Bronzexual Confessions.
I was going to hold this until tomorrow. I promise you I was. But while I was in the restroom, a bronzexual got a hold of me when I came back here to my office. Now, before I tell you what this bronzexual said, out of pocket and out of turn, let me read what I read earlier. According to USA Today, LeBron James is entering the podcast world, and he will be joined in the new venture by retired NBA player and ESPN analyst JJ Redick. The show will be called Mind the Game, and its premise is to deep dive into basketball. What the show won't have at first is a corporate sponsorship. Hey, want to sponsor this show where we tell the truth about sports? Let a Snowman know. LeBron said, quote, "I'm really proud." No, I didn't do it right. I didn't do right by Cole. I didn't set that up correctly. And I want to set it up correctly. So allow me to try this again. With LeBron setting things up. And where are you? I can't find the button I'm looking for. Doggone it. Okay, yes I can. Here it is. I That's not the one I wanted. This is. Okay, let me try this for the third time. Take 3. Regarding this venture, LeBron said, quote, I'm really proud of what we've done to innovate in sports media. When I do a project, the only thing I think about is whether me and my friends would watch it. That is definitely the case with Mind the Game. Everything doesn't need to be designed for internet culture and clicks. Close quote. Let me read that again. Quote. Everything doesn't need to be designed for internet culture and clicks. Close quote. Really? Really? You're actually going to say that aloud? You going to say that aloud, LeBron? Especially given your bronzexual brood? Especially given your bronzexual universe? You're actually going to have the unmitigated gall, the balls, the nuts, and the nerve to say that aloud? Given some of the times you've been caught on the internet, can somebody say Game 7 of the 2016 World Series? Everything doesn't need to be designed for internet culture and clicks. I will keep reading that and hammer a point home. Everything does not have to be designed for internet culture and clicks. Then do me a favor and explain Game 7 of the 2016 World Series for me, will you please? Explain the barbershop to me, will you please? Explain that. Explain all these bronzexuals, will you please? What the hell do you mean? Everything. Well, I will say that he's right for that, but you're a hypocrite for saying that because mostly everything you do is designed for internet culture and clicks, you dummy. You tell me what the hell you've done that is not designed for internet culture and clicks. Because that I promise you, pun intended, was definitely done for that. And considering very few people graduate from that joint, it only proves my point even further. Intermission.
This moment of bronzexual stupidity is brought to you by Hooked on Bronix. When you start talking like an idiotic bronzexual, Hooked on Bronix can set you right. Call 1-800-YOKAY. Real LJPM, now approve all this.
I gotta get it. We gotta get Ray back on here. Now, to the brief, and I mean brief, conversation I had with a bronzexual, and this is while I was taking a break earlier today. This fish-eyed fool had the absolute nerve to say to me, quote, this is going to be the best podcast ever because LeBron James is featured. Close quote. For that comment, I go to intermission number 2.
So I realized that I think even though it's not advertised,
right,
there has to be a place for stupid people. We don't know because we're not stupid, so we don't know anything about it. It's like a secret club society.
Oh my gosh.
So I come to the conclusion that he graduated from SU, stupid university. Yeah, all the stupid ass letters that go along with graduating high honors of being stupid. I can't do no more, man.
Vámonos, dominos, vámonos. Stupid university, where everyone graduates magna whom stupid.
You can't make this up. You can't make this up. I'd play it another way, but I can't. Folks, I swear to you, you cannot make this up. You can't. This is... You know, I go back to a comment that Victor said earlier, and I thought Kendrick Perkins would be his co-host, considering Kendrick Perkins kisses LeBron's ass the most, or one of the people that kisses LeBron's ass the most. What? Best podcast ever? The guy's already a billionaire. Does he really need a corporate sponsor? Mind the Game. And its premise is to deep dive into basketball. Now, I'm going to piss off a lot of bronsexuals when I say my next sentence, but considering the fact that he can't play basketball correctly anyway, how the hell are you going to deep dive into basketball if you can't play it correctly? Now, how do you like them apples? Huh? And to think just because he scored 40,000 points, these bronsexuals have his down his throat even deeper and even more because of that. Because and they want to crown him the greatest of all time. Are you out of your rabbit ass rat picking mind? Are you out of your rat picking mind? Intermission number 3.
LJPN is sponsored by HoFacts. Before she hoe, and you gotta know, tell her to show me the HoFacts.
How the hell are you going to open your mouth and say a statement like that? Huh? How the hell are you going to open your mouth and say a statement like that? You know, if you were to grade this particular bronsexual confession, I will allow you to give it an incomplete. But considering the quote that I got this morning, a selection from the Wonder Bread Choir entitled "Stop Smoking Them Lines, Please." Greatest podcast ever. What the hell are you thinking? No, better question. What the hell were you smoking? Now get the hell out of my face, you thirsty bitches.
In a world where logic and sense flies completely out the window, while purple and yellow glasses are donned, rises a figure who encourages ridiculous, undying loyalty. Good Lord, I'm about to throw up. This has been yet another installment of The Bronsexual Confessions.
I swear to y'all, we don't look for this stuff. It finds us. For some god-awful reason, it finds us. I just had to get that out. Back after this.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying, but this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Attention sports fans, looking for the ultimate gear and apparel to show your team pride? Look no further than Fanatics, the #1 destination for sports enthusiasts. Visit snowmanmultimediasports.com today and shop a wide selection of officially licensed merchandise from your favorite teams and players. From jerseys to hats to accessories to collectibles, Fanatics has it all. Don't miss out on the chance to elevate your game day experience. Head over to snowmanmultimediasports.com/fanatics and gear up like a true fan with Fanatics. Officially licensed everything. Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code SNOWMAN for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Tomorrow during hour 1, handing out more free agency grades.
Ain't nobody calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, are you still involved? Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still involved? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still involved. Woo, oh, shut up, my boy, shut up. I'm still involved. Oh, I'm still them boys, I'm still them boys. Yeah, I'm still them boys. Yeah.
That's tomorrow. NFC East grades.
Daddy, how long has it been since the Cowboys won the Super Bowl?
Longest for the longest time. Longest for the longest. There's no Dallas Cowboy fans in sight. Are y'all still them boys after tonight? Green Day destroyed you. No championship for you. That hasn't happened for the longest time. So much has happened since you won your last. Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, Dak Prescott, trash. Lost in the wild card. Green Bay just stood on your star. You haven't won it for the longest time. Maybe this won't last very long. You said you'd win this year, but you were wrong. Dak Prescott let down CeeDee Lamb. He's the interception man, and that's all that he's known for.
Woo! Tomorrow, NFC East free agency grades. And I can tell you right now, there's a certain team that resides in the NFC East, and their grade is Kyle Senra will join me later in the week to go over all of the NFC grades. And I'm giving the Packers an F just to mess with my buddy Trey. Yeah, he's working right now. He says, I want to get on with you and talk. Yeah, considering the fact that we beat you again in the playoffs required a miracle, but we got it done. The ghost of Brett Favre has been avenged. 20 minutes to closing time. We got a break and we'll wrap it up after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition,
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze claw.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to I can be the black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Oh, I'm sorry. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
I need to make an apology to Play-by-Play with JJ because I told him that I would be in his stream last night and I was kind of sound asleep. I was zonked out. JJ, I'm sorry, buddy, but I was zonked out. I truly was zonked out. Speaking of JJ, he was in the comments earlier when I had the Rude Dog. He said, Rudy, huge fan of your work, and he said, good interview. I plan to have him on during football season this year, and we're going to meet in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. That's my goal, to be clear to travel. I see my oncologist later this week, and just keep continuing to heal. I plan to be back in the chair full time beginning May 3rd, and that means doing 2 shows, maybe a third, and my play-by-play work as well. And I'm probably going to wind up moving my office yet again. For the simplest of reasons, I ain't got enough room in here. At least not now. But I will make that decision I will cross that bridge when we get to it. I got plans to cover the NFC East tomorrow, maybe the NFC Central. I don't know. It depends on how loud Victor yells in my ear saying, "Hey, you haven't talked to me in a few days." Well, I've been sick. Jody's been sick. I've been driving at night, taking my daughter to and from work, so I had to get that scheduled down. I've had a ton of doctor's appointments, and the day I was supposed to record with Victor, we were supposed to record Sunday. And Sunday, I also had plans to cover the brackets, the live reveal of said brackets. Well, I ran into 2 problems. One, I overslept. And this is even when Victor gave me a 5-minute warning. And the second problem, my stomach acted a fool. So I had to cancel that. And Cole said this morning during Total Football Talk, and I love this brother to death. He said for me to continue to heal and continue to rest. So that's why while I'm in wound care, the shows you will see on Wednesday and Friday, for the most part, will be pre-recorded. But I want to be sure that I keep getting the content out to you guys so that when I do resume the chair on May the 3rd, that everything will be kosher and everything will be ready. I got to make sure my schedule's down pat. Got to make sure that I'm able to drive, continue to drive so I can get my daughter to and from. And there's a few things that my wife and I are planning to do, and we want to get the summer in order as well. So y'all let me know in the comments which team or teams would you like me to cover later this week. Now, if you have an NFC team, we'll hit you this week. AFC teams will hit next week. But if there's a team you want me to hit this week, let me know in the comments, and we'll make sure that we get that team ready for you. All right, one more break, and we're going to get on out of here. Matter of fact, we're just going to go ahead and get on out of here right now. Whew, because I'm starting to hit the wall here physically, and I know I'm going to have to lay down for a bit until I do my editing. So we're going to go ahead and call it now. I want y'all to have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move, and always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Hour 48. Hey, that's pretty good. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. Bronze Sexual Wednesday is tomorrow. So long, everybody.